everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel Mba. On today's episode, we get the chance to sit down and talk to two people who are working very closely together to support food banks within our province. We're getting to chat with Glen Bolger of the NLCU and Tina Bishop of the Food Sharing Association. So sit back, relax, and we'll get right to it. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Tina Bishop, who is the General Manager of the Community Food Sharing Association. Tina, thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you because anyone who knows anything about food and food services in terms of food banks and all that has probably heard about the Community Food Sharing Association without directly knowing all the amazing work that you and your organization do. So do you mind giving us a little bit of information about how it all works?
Sure, not at all. The Community Food Sharing Association is the provincial association or the pivotal distribution center for food banks throughout the province. So we operate a warehouse in St. John's, and from that warehouse we're able to collect and distribute millions of pounds of food to food banks throughout the province each year.
Basically, you're the hub where it all goes through to make sure every corner of our province for where people are suffering with food scarcity are able to get serviced.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. So we have donations, food donations come in through our warehouse, and from there we distribute to all corners of the province.
See, I love the work that you do, but one thing I've always noticed, like people think when they think food donations and food banks and all that, we usually think Thanksgiving, and that's a time where it's all the rage. But you guys run 365 days a year. You're working all the time to make sure, whether it's snow outside like the postman, or if it's a lovely summer day where other people are having a barbecue, you make sure that people have food in their homes.
Absolutely. So we do work 365 days a year. People are very generous around the holidays with their donations, but we have to be able to supply food to those in need throughout the year. So after Thanksgiving, and then we're into Christmas, but it's in the winter months and the spring that we find donations then are down, but the need is still there. Yeah.
So over the years that you've been with the organization, what are, I guess, some of the trends that you've seen in what people donate and where sometimes we forget that these are still necessities that people need?
Well, what we're seeing, the trends are, the dynamics, I guess, are changing right throughout. The people that we're seeing are people that we've never seen before. There's working families. We're seeing more seniors come through the doors. And, with the cost of living, it's taken a toll on everybody, really. So everything has to change. And with the dynamics changing, then the need for a different food comes into play. So we're noticing more of special diets, okay. Gluten-free diets, diabetic diets, and cultural diets as well. So we're having to try and adjust what we provide to people in need as well.
I love how you talk about like the diversity that's showing up in terms of the food needs that you're seeing. When people think about giving to the food bank, usually think about like your individual donations, but there are ways that organizations as a whole can also support the work that you do, aren't there?
Yes, there are. So we often have businesses call us and, they'd be interested in holding a food drive within their office, which is a great way for the business and the community to give to those in need. So we really support that effort. And of course, the corporate donations as well are something that go a long way. So for every $10 donation, we're able to source, purchase, and distribute up to $205 worth of food. So it certainly goes a long way.
Wow, I'm sorry, for every $10 donation, about two, wow.
Yes.
You guys I need a second to kind of absorb that, because people usually think, well, I only have this much money in excess to give, and they're not always aware of how far you are able to take that money and be able to, how much good you can do with that. So that's amazing to know that every little bit does count. Every little bit counts. There's no donation that's too small, whether it's a toonie or a loonie or, you know, $5. Every donation really has an impact on those throughout the province. Wow. Yeah. Oh, I'm still processing the math in my brain. I still try to math all that out. So as you guys have been running for 8 years for you is how long you've been with the Community Food Sharing Association. Yeah. You've seen a lot of things go on over this time. Are there key moments where you didn't know how you were able to support a certain food bank or a certain community, yet somehow it got all put together for you? Well, absolutely. There's one instance in particular. Back in January of 2019, our former warehouse on Topsail Road, we had a fire there. And at the end of that day, we had nothing. We never had so much as a can of beans. Wow. We have 60 food banks throughout the province that depend on us for food, and we never had anything. That was on a Thursday. And by God's good graces, by Monday, we were actually up and operating again and started distributing food again. So, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was working for VOCM around the time when that happened, so it was shocking. It was devastating. You know, that day will stay with me forever. But the generosity of the community, of the businesses, you know, just everybody coming together to be able to make sure that we could start distribution again within a couple of days. You know, it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. I'm so glad to see that when time came for community to pour their hats out to support you, they were there to support you in the way that was most needed. Now, when I think about what the work that you guys do, you guys are supporting the food banks, but people also call you. They call you with requests and trying to figure out how to navigate when someone for the first time says, I need support, I need access to food. So what is that like when someone reaches out to the Community Food Sharing Association? When someone reaches out, and we certainly welcome people to reach out, if you're in need, feel free to give us a call at the office, 709-722-0130. You know, we can certainly help you navigate to the nearest food bank that you'll be able to get service from. So yeah, I mean, we welcome anyone who's in need. Certainly reach out. Don't do without, and don't, you know, we want to break down, I guess, the stigma that comes with using the food bank. There's no judgment. You know, people are there to help, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that nobody goes hungry. Absolutely. So if an organization is sitting around now being like, we have the team, we have the capacity, and maybe we have some extra dollars in which we want to do, are there some most needed items that you're noticing that certain food banks are saying, we really need these items? We have the staples, but there's some things that people forget that are needed when you're trying to put together a staple meal. Well, we have our core list of our high demand everyday items that include things like peanut butter, crackers, tinned meats and vegetables and stews and soups and pasta, cereal, milk, powdered milk. But really, it's anything that you have in your cupboards, basically. You know, and anything that you use in your household on a daily basis is something that somebody else can use. So in addition to food items, we certainly are happy to accept personal care items, household items, so, you know, your garbage bags and cleaners and toilet paper, paper towel, things like that. Because people, you know, they need that stuff as well. So, see, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I always forget when people think donating to the Community Food Sharing Association, you think food, the staples like the pastas, the soups and all of that, but you forget that people also do need the personal care items. The cost of living increase affects everyone from large to small, and those simple little things that you don't think about when you're filling your shopping cart at the beginning or the end of your shopping trip are things that are essential to individuals. Like, absolutely, right, and you know, a lot of these products are quite costly.
you know, so if we're able to provide that through the food bank, then it helps the families that are in need, and then they can save that, you know, bit of money and use it where they need to. So
I had a question for you though, because I know a lot of people are having babies. People with families sometimes do have to avail of the food bank and the Community Food Sharing Association. Sometimes people get those coupons for discounts for formula. Is those things that can be donated to your organization too as well?
absolutely, yeah, we'll
Okay.
take those, and we'll give them to the food bank. So if someone is looking for formula, if the food bank doesn't have the formula, then they may have a coupon that you can use as well, right?
Okay. So that's
yeah.
important for people to know.
Yeah.
Those kind of things also count in ways to support your organization.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, some other things when we're talking about babies, the diapers and wipes and things like that go a long ways as well.
Well, that's fantastic. Tina, in all the years that you sit there and you think about where we've come as a community and how we've been able to support you, what do you see as the future of the Community Food Sharing Association?
Well, ideally, we'd love to see that, you know, it'll come to a point where there's no need for food banks, that people are able to support themselves fully. You know, I mean, you think about that and you're probably wishing that you didn't have a job, sort of thing. But that's the reality of it. I mean, you know, a day that there's no need for food banks, that would be the ultimate day. But in the meantime, we are there to support, you know, and we love what we do. We're there, we're working for the people in need. You know, we're trying to secure these donations, recover food, keep it out of our landfills, cut down on carbon emissions. You know, it all comes together, right? So, yeah, and again, I reiterate to everyone that if you are in need, please reach out and we will get you set up with a food bank in your area.
So where can we find out more information about your organization in terms of people wanting to donate or just wanting to support in any way?
Well, you can always visit our website at www.cfsa.nf.net. There's some information there, so anything that you need, you should be able to find there. And if not, you can always give us a call at 709-722-0130, and we can help navigate, you know, whatever, if it's going to be a food drive or a financial donation, or if someone is in need, we can certainly help out either way.
Tina, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. I know this information will be valuable for everyone listening, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Glen Bolger, who is the CEO of the NLCU, also known as the Newfoundland and Labrador Credit Union. Glen, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm glad to have you back again. It is that time of the year, our favorite time of the year.
It is definitely our favorite time of the year.
So last time we had you, we were talking about the food bank when you were on here, but we were talking about a special event going on with NLCU and the Community Food Sharing Association. So what was that?
It's very exciting. We have partnered with the Community Food Sharing Association, and it is really the result of our employees and their drive to connect us to community. So a little bit of background. Every year we celebrate International Credit Union Day, and that's the third Thursday of October every year. So this year it's the 17th of October.
Okay.
And over the last couple of years, our employees have wanted to find a way, an act of kindness. We have an act of kindness program that gives back to our community. And how do we celebrate Credit Union Day in a way that connects us to community? Mm-hmm. So we decided to have a food drive, and this is our third annual food drive this year. Wow. So we are actually collecting non-perishable food items and donations of cash across all of our branch network from the 3rd of September till October 31st, right up to Halloween.
Okay, so who needs to go trick-or-treating when we can just drop off our donations?
I mean, really, right? You know,
all in one.
You know, and yeah, exactly. You could trick-or-treat and drop in and do a donation. And, you know, it has a significant impact. We know food insecurity is such a big issue right now for all of Newfoundland and Labradorians. And, you know, our employees wanted to do something to have an impact. You've heard Tina speak earlier about how $10 can be turned into $205. Last year for our second annual food drive, we actually collected 600 food items.
Wow.
And we were able to donate to the Community Food Sharing Association $3,500. Wow. Of which two $1,000 donations came from our foundation, our charitable foundation, NLCU's foundation, as well as the cooperators. So $1,500 of that $3,500 was in donations that came into our branches. Wow. So we want to increase that this year, and we want to top that goal. You know, it's a time, Laurabel, where I think Newfoundlanders and Labradorians really need our help. Mm-hmm. There was a study done in 2022 that showed 22.9% of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians in the 12 months prior to the study showed some level of food insecurity in their home. And that was the highest of all provinces in our country. Like, we have to do better. Yeah. And, you know, I love when you spoke to Tina and she said she'd like to work herself out of a job. Well, we'd like to help her work herself out of a job. And I have no doubt that Tina will always have a job. But we would certainly like to help the food banks to not even be a necessity anymore. And the other statistic that I found really riveting for me when I was going through some research on this was that 28.8% of all children in Newfoundland and Labrador under the age of 18 live in food insecure homes.
Wow. Wow, that one hits heavy because we were talking earlier, we're all parents. We all have small humans who depend on us for a lot of things. And just thinking about those parents who are out there who might not have the food in their fridge or in their cupboards to care for their little ones, what that must feel like for them.
I know. It's got to be tough because, you know, I think parents have to make tough decisions between food on the table, medications, paying high rental costs. There's so much to balance. And, you know, one of the pieces I'm so proud of to work with NLCU is that we help our members with budgeting, with financial awareness, with understanding how we can help them be more financially successful. So sometimes we have members come in and they're asking us for our help in how they can be more successful financially. How can they save money? Mm-hmm. How can they have more money for the food that costs so much more? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a privilege really to be able to help people every single day. So we help them on the financial side of their lives, and organizations like the Community Food Sharing Association help them to better themselves and have food on their table every single day.
So I know this is the third year, and I know we've talked about hopefully doing so well we work Tina out of a job.
That's right.
So When this year, when people are sitting there looking around and being like, okay, how do I support the NLCU with this mission? What do you want to let people know about why, like, what should be their reason to give? What would be your reason to give?
I think we all have had family, friends, and even ourselves when, during our lives, we all probably had moments where, our finances were tight, and we know how hard it is and how what that struggle is like to not know, is there going to be money when I swipe that debit card today when I go to pay for the groceries? That's very stressful. So I think all of us, and particularly Newfoundlanders and Labradorans, because we're such a giving group of people, we've always been known worldwide for our philanthropic ways, and I think. My message would be to say to your audience, check your cupboards, because we all have things that we use every single day that we take for granted. And whatever it is that you have at home that you can say, you know what, I have a number of cans of this that I can donate to the community food sharing, and make a real difference for people out there who are struggling today. And really think about those children as well. Like, to me, when I think about 28.8% of our children, a third practically, are living in an insecure home. That just makes me want to go back to my cupboard and empty out more.
Absolutely. I agree with you, sitting here thinking about if Theo came and said, hey, Mom, I was hungry, and there wasn't food in the house to feed him, what that would feel like. So what stress that must be on those parents.
Exactly.
And so I know when we think about our population too, though, we do have a ton of seniors who are sitting there thinking pennies for food or pennies for medication, and seniors. So for people looking around, it's not just the kids, I guess, that we're worrying about feeding. We want to take care of our nans and our pops and our aunts and our uncles as well. So I guess those are the other reasons people find to give. For organizations who are saying, I see what you're doing, NLCU, and you know what? We have a little extra money in our bank account. We have a little money that we said that we're going to donate towards a good cause. What's your plea to them for this time?
My ask is to please drop into one of our locations. So we are province-wide. We have branches in Stephenville, Corner Brook, Labrador City, Grand Falls, Gander, Clarenville, Carbonear, and we have 5 branches in the Metro St. John's region. And my ask is, you know what? You heard it from Tina earlier. I mean, turn that $10 bill into $205 of food for a family that really needs your help today. And I think, with all the rising costs of inflation, and we've had interest rate hikes over the last number of years, there's been so many things that have increased in cost. Rental costs in all of the areas of the province have increased significantly. So the cost of living all around us is having an impact on families, having an impact on children. And, NLCU, I guess what I'm so proud of to work for an organization that not only are we a banking organization that provides banking and financial services, but everything we do comes back to how do we improve the communities where we live and work. And so to know our employees are so passionate about helping families at a time when food insecurity is so top of mind, it's a very proud moment for me. And I would ask your listeners to please drop by. It can be a can of soup, it can be a $5 bill. Anything helps. Last year, all those $5 bills added up to $1,500. So when we multiply that out based on the $10 provides $205 with the community food sharing. I can't even do the math.
I'm trying to do the math right now, and I'm like, I'm remembering I'm not an accountant. This is not my strong point, and I do not have a calculator with me on set.
No.
But that's
it's a
far stretch.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And so, I think, people probably think I don't have anything that I can make an impact. And that can of soup and that $10 bill makes a huge impact. And it could be in a child who, it's the difference between that child who will have supper tonight or won't.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about how Tina was talking about the diversity in food requests that are showing up at the food bank and with the Community Food Sharing Association. So things that we might not have been used to thinking about. We walk by in the grocery store, we're like, oh, I don't buy that because I don't know anyone who buys that. This might be a great opportunity to help feed the diverse populations of Newfoundland and Labrador who are looking for things that they can't pick up for themselves in the grocery store.
Exactly. And, you know, I loved when Tina mentioned that. I think, and we have so many people with special diets, whether it's gluten-free or lactose-free, or, you know, ethnic diets, and people who eat different foods. I think, you know, that's where the money can also help, so that the Food Sharing Association can go out and purchase those special items. But I think also, which was really interesting, and I loved what she had to say about the personal care items, because, you know, I think we think food all the time and money, but we don't think about all those expensive personal care items that we all buy ourselves, and how pricey they are, but they're necessities of life. And, you know, like, if we have some of those in our cupboards that we can also donate, it would help some of these families tremendously.
I think it was just the other day, a friend and I were talking about when you have to do that stock up at home, when it has to be paper towels, toilet paper, and cleaning supplies. That's the day you don't want to look at your grocery bill, because you know it's going to look a little bit heavier than it normally does, and we don't think about that when we're thinking about donations.
We don't. I mean, look at the prices of even like laundry detergent and I mean, it's expensive, and it takes, actually, I think then it takes away from the food that a lot of families can purchase for their children and for themselves. So I think anything we can do to donate, you know, our branches would be happy to take any amount, whether it's one can of food or it's a, you know, full canister of laundry detergent, whatever you have to bring in, we would be happy to accept that. And, you know, I think we can have a big impact on families this year. You know, it's that time of year, it's fall, we have Thanksgiving, we have the holiday season coming up on us. So I think it's a time when a lot of families are trying to think about, what am I going to do? How am I going to feed my family this year? So let's get out there and do something that's really going to have that impact.
I want to thank you so much, Glen, for joining me and being so open about why this is so important to NLCU.
Thank you, Laurabel. It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
And we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in yet again, and a very special thank you to Tina Bishop of the Community Food Sharing Association and Glen Bolger of the NLCU. If you're looking to support them and their fundraiser this season, make sure to drop by the NLCU in your community, and they're collecting not just food but personal items as well. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you all again next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
I am a wild robot.
Be the first to watch the Wild Robot movie at
Home.
Amazing!
Amazing.
from the studio that brought you How to Train Your Dragon.
He needs to swim and fly.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim!
That's drowning.
The Wild Robot.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you, perform?
Yes.
Do you travel for work?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
This fall on Rogers TV, we'll be airing your RNC